This exercise had you creating data for your municipality. You were asked to geocode your township offices, map sex offenders, map historical markers, map historical properties, and map school districts. So we're going to go over each one of these so that you know exactly how to do them. We're going to start with the mapping the township offices. You were asked to add the Lebanon County townships to a map, which is here, and then also add the township offices Excel. So to do that, we hit add data, and then we go to where we put that data. And it will add the spreadsheet. If you right click on it and open it, you will see the townships and their addresses. What we want to do is we want to get these addresses on a map, so we're going to geocode them. So to geocode, you simply right click on the sheet, go to Geocode Addresses, select the World Geocode service, click OK. Sign in to ArcGIS Online. And once I sign in, it'll take it a second, but the Geocode Addresses dialog box will appear. Now that that has appeared, you tell it what table that you are geocoding, and you input what fields have the address information in. So the actual address is in the field called street. The city is in a field called city, and so on. So this is Esri or ArcGIS automatically populated it. You just have to verify that it is indeed correct. This is where the data is going for this, and you might want to drive it somewhere else. I'm gonna drive this to that folder that is shown there, and I'm going to call it Township Offices, and hit save, and then hit OK. This will geocode the addresses, and luckily enough, we matched 25 of 25, so we don't have to do any rematching to this. So when I hit close, those township offices are added to the map, and I now have this as a permanent data layer in my GIS system. So that was how to do the first part of the exercise. The second one was asking you to geocode sex offenders, but you had to do a little bit of the work on this. You had to go to the Megan's Law website and build the Excel spreadsheet yourself. And this is a good exercise because you get used to how to format Excel documents. And I'm going to bring up an Excel file that I have already created to show you what yours should look like. Notice that this Excel spreadsheet is very clean and simple, no fancy formatting, nothing's truncated or cut off, and it's just nice and clean, no spaces between the field name and the first entry. So this is a really well formatted spreadsheet. Notice that the fields that are in there, there's the name of the offender, the address, and the offense. All of this data will carry over to the attribute table. So I'm going to close this down, and I'm going to bring this into Geocode. I'm going to hit my Add Data button, and I'm going to go up a level. And hit Sheet 1 and hit Add. And this is for the Duncannon area, so you're going to notice that it's not going to show up on top of Lebanon County just because it's not in the same geography. So I'm going to go to Geocode Addresses, follow the same procedure I did prior, and I'm going to be able to skip a couple things because since I'm already signed in, I'm not going to have to do that. I'm just going to have to. So we right-click, go to Geocode Addresses, select World Geocode Service, hit OK, and the Geocode Address dialog box will come up. And then we populate it with the appropriate fields. Make sure that we call it something appropriate. You can just call it offenders. And then I'm just making sure these are correct. Hit OK. And we can see that we have 13 out of 13 matched, and hit close. And we can see the offenders on the map. To make a map of this, then we would then zoom in on them and likely add a base map of some type so that we have it as a backdrop. So that was how to do the second part. The third one is mapping Pennsylvania historical markers. So we again just hit the Add Data button, and we go to the location where we have that. And here they are. Add the historical markers. Right click on it just to make sure everything came in, and there we go. They come. And actually, let's add those again. So the historical markers are added. I then just go to display X, Y. The longitude is the Y field or the X field, or the Y field is latitude. And just because this is populated with a coordinate system doesn't mean it's the right one. It's taking the coordinate system of the data frame. So we want to make sure that that's WGS 1984. And that's always going to be the case in this case of latitude, longitude coordinates. It's always WGS 1984. And we hit OK. And now our historical markers are on the map. And I'm going to zoom to the layer so you can see them. And then we want to make this permanent, so I'm going to right click on it and go to Data, Export Data, and export this as historical markers. Now that I did that export, the data is permanent and not just temporary within the project. So that is the historical markers. The next one was asking you to import the historical sites KML. A KML is a data file used in Google Earth that can be brought into ArcGIS as a data layer, but you have to use one of the conversion tools in ArcToolbox in order to bring those in. So we activate ArcToolbox, which will take a second, and then we will go to our conversion tools. And hit the plus sign next to that, and from KML, and then we want KML to layer. So we double click that, and then we select the historical sites KML. And it's telling us where it's putting the data, and I don't like that location, so I'm going to drive it someplace else. And then I'm going to name it Historic Sites without the space. You will notice the globe turning down here at the bottom. As that's turning, it means that it's processing something. And while that's turning, I'll kind of clean up our map a little bit so we are able to see these when they come in. And they're added to the map. And it adds the place mark, which isn't the most attractive thing because it's really a layer, not a shape file. We can export these to a shape file if we wish. We just go to right click on it and go to save as a layer file, or data, export data, and then just export it to where we want it. But that will bring in our historical data. And then the last one was asking you to create a school district data layer for Lebanon County. And you can do this in a couple different ways. I'm going to put my counties on top so I can see the outline really clearly. And you were asked to select the school districts that are within Lebanon County. So you can click on the first one, then the second, and this is being a little bit fussy. And what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easy, I'm going to change my selectable layers because it makes it a little bit easier to deal with. I'm going to change my selectable layer to school districts. This is being a little fickle. I'm sorry for the confused explanation, but we're using our select features tool and holding down the shift key as we select these. Once all the school districts are selected, we come over here to the right or at the left and go to data, and export those school districts. And then we just have the Lebanon County school districts. So with that, goes over the solution for the creating new data exercise.